This is lesson 14 in this Autodesk Inventor series. In this lesson, we're going to look at the Loft command. Loft creates a transitional shape between two or more sketches. What does that do for us? That lets us create parts that look like this, like this, like this, and like this. Let's begin by drawing a new part and look at some of the possibilities that we have with Loft. Let's start a sketch here on the XY plane. I'm just going to draw a circle. Let's make it a 2-inch circle and finish that sketch. Now from here, if I extrude, I get a cylinder. But I'm not looking for a cylinder this time. I am looking for something different. Let's pull up our XY plane and create a plane off of that. You click XY, you come up here and click plane, and you drag off of that somewhere. Let's give that a 3-inch distance from that starting plane. Now I can create a new sketch on this plane. Start 2D sketch. If I come in and draw another circle, let's make it a 4-inch circle. I finish that sketch. I create a loft between the two. I click one circle, I click the other circle, and it creates that solid body. Let's turn off visibility on that work plane. Maybe we come in here and, as in the example, we click shell, tell it I want to take that face off, and now I have that hollowed out shape. Let's make another one. Let's start out as we did the first time. New sketch on the XY plane. Let's draw that same 2-inch circle. Finish that sketch. Let's spin around a little bit, and again off the XY plane, I'm going to create a new plane to draw on, 3 inches. Let's make a new sketch, but this time I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to put it, I don't know, 1/2 inch up, 1 inch over. Give it a diameter of 5 inches. Finish that sketch, and when I loft between the two, there I have that slanted cone shape. As we learned from Revolve, this is something I could have created with the Revolve feature, but this is not something that would revolve. This requires Loft. But let's explore some of the other things Loft can do. Let's create another new part. In those first two examples, we used circles for both profiles. Now let's start a new sketch here. Let's draw a circle on this end. 2 inches is good. Close that. Finish sketch. Create our new plane again off of the XY plane. This time, when we sketch on that XY plane, let's use a rectangle. Let's make it 5 inches wide, 2 inches tall. Say OK. Finish that sketch, create a loft between that shape and that shape. And notice what it does for us. It takes a squared off rectangular part, changes it into a curved part. Let's go back into this second sketch that we created. Let's add some fillets to these corners. Let's make this a 1/2 inch fillet. That corner, corner to corner, clicking all the way around. Say OK, finish that sketch, and see the result that it gives us. Every part of this rectangle with rounded corners smoothly transitions into this circular face. Now, if I wanted to, as we had in one of the examples, I could create a flange on this end here. Let's make that 6, that 3. Just throwing up something quickly. Create an extrusion off of that, make that an 1/8 inch thick. Let's make another sketch down here. Make that a 4x4 rectangle. Let's shrink that down a little bit. Let's make that 2.5 by 2.5. Finish sketch, extrude that another 125. And then maybe we come in here and use shell again with a 125 wall thickness to take out those two end faces and get that hollowed out shape. Let's make another one. Now let's see, that was something similar to that example. This one's a little bit different. Let's go and look at what Loft says again about itself. Create a transitional shape between two or more sketches. We've used 2 sketches on the first 2 examples, but we don't have to limit ourselves to 2 sketches. We can do 3 sketches, we can do more. Let's create our first sketch, as is our custom on the XY plane. Let's put a little rectangle there, 2 inches wide, 1 inch high. Finish that sketch. Now I'm going to come over here. Let's just make these, let's make the XY plane visible so I don't have to keep going back to it. I'm going to start a new plane, drag it out to the front. I'm going to make that 3 inches. I'm going to make another plane off of that XY plane, -3 inches. Let's create a sketch on work plane 1. That first one we created. Let's draw a rectangle. Let's put it down here. Let's project some geometry off that first sketch. Get a dimension. That 1.5. 3 inches wide, 2 inches tall. Looks like we need a vertical constraint to get us stuck in place. That gets our front rectangle. Now let's come back here to the back. Create a new sketch. Let's put this one, let's put it even further down. Oops, I need to come down here to a center point. Down here. Let's put in a vertical constraint, point to point. Give that a distance down of 2 inches. Give it a width of 4. Give it a height of 2.5. That looks good. Finish that sketch. Let's turn off these work planes, make XY go away as well. And now look at what we have with 3 rectangles, 3 different locations. When we click Loft, let's get 1, 2. See, it connects those 2, but when I add a third, now it adds a curve between. There you have 4 examples of using the Loft command. Come back for lesson 15 and we will use Loft again, but show you how to get a little bit more control using one extra feature within Loft. See you then.